kind of doing this one as a live stream because I don't know how to save and upload things off my PlayStation directly, and it's a pain in the butt, and I can only do like 50 minutes at a time. And I can't even do my voiceovers with it. So, real quick, we're going to smash in today and do a quick Smite God overview builder walkthrough thing. I've got a couple... I primarily play a mage, but I've got a couple of assassins, a warrior. I try and have at least one of every class that I can play. But we're going to dive in. I've got a bit of a joke build that I've got for Sobek that, after looking into and discussing with a few of the people that I play with, I think would be a great way for new players and possibly some veterans alike to see how to take the best advantage of your god's abilities and put that into how you build. So if you want to look over here, if you're not familiar with Sobek, here you go. I'm going to hover over these for a minute. If you want to read the abilities, take a second, pause the screen. Y'all know how to do it. But basically, if you're new to the game, every god has 4 abilities and a passive. The passive ability is what I typically aim to take advantage of, as well as the raw power that you get for the damage. Like, this one takes an additional 80% of your magic power, so I try and raise my magical power on that, obviously. So, Sobek's basic attacks and abilities that hit an enemy grant him protection over time. That's not limited to just... oh wait, I backed right at him. That's not limited to just enemy gods. That can be enemy minions, enemy anything. And, you know, now that I'm looking at it... whatever. Okay, so we're going to go into... I guess we can go into the ability builder, because that just lets you, for each level, choose what you're going to upgrade first. I tend to prioritize... What do I prioritize? I guess I prioritize the charge prey, because I like to knock people out of place. Anyways, to the item builder. Now, this is going to look ridiculous to everybody, because for my Sobek, I have 6 armors. 6 breastplates. That's my thing with him. I have so much protection that I can't be put down all that often. And I know that sounds ridiculous, but it takes advantage of the passive protections he gets and just makes it so whenever an enemy hits me, I take next to no damage. I mean, penetrate ruins me, but, you know, you gotta take what you can get. So with my passive protections up, I can get about 300 in both categories. I've obviously got this because I'm a team player. What's that? Finish off. You've got water in your backpack. Oh, let me get that in a minute. And I've obviously got the bracelet here for cooldown. So, wait. Settle down, little missy. I'll be right with you. Sorry, my daughter's in the background here. I probably should have shot this earlier in the morning when she was still at school. But I had to choose what I was going to do. So, that's how I build Sobek. I don't typically play this online. I actually built this as kind of my beater dummy to teach some of my friends how to play. Give me just 1 second. I'll be right back, guys. That's kind of my beater character. Here you go, baby. And I use this to teach other players how to use their gods. Be it an assassin, a mage, whatever. I figure having a nice big fat wall to hit that's an actual player as opposed to an actual wall in the training grounds is a little bit preferable. So, I digress. In a few minutes, baby. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to go over a quick overview. I've bought the Ultimate God Pack, so I have all gods that will ever exist. And we're going to talk a little bit about each particular class. My heart and soul is with Guardians and Mages. Sure. Bacchus is my frickin' spirit guide, but it's over there in the basket. Just because I love his ridiculous crowd control and hard CCs, and it's just wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. The whale basket. The whale basket. Okay, anyways, I digress. When you're playing as a guardian, and actually as a warrior as well, your job is pretty much to counter what the enemy team does. As a warrior, you're going to be a little bit more focused on damage output than a tank would be. But, I mean, you still need to be paying attention to if the enemy team has, say, a Kukulkan, an Alquang, and a Wheelix. Well, let's not say a Kukulkan and an Alquang, because that's 2 mages. But you see that a lot more often than you might think. Let's say like in a Wheelix up in the Assassins. How about a Ganesh, a Chernabog, an Alquang, and a Chak. Then you have 1, 2... Actually, is he physical? I think Chernobog's physical. You have 3 people that are physical and 2 magical damage characters. That means, as a warrior or a guardian, you're going to be focusing on the physical protections more than the magicals. You need the magicals still, but the physical protections are going to be your bread and butter, because that's going to stop 3/5 of what the enemy's doing. Assassins, your job is to go ahead and just gank every kill you can. You live in the jungle. If you're in the arena, you live on the outskirts, and you stop in and you take your kill where you can. That being said, I can't specifically go into many of them because I don't have a whole lot of practice in any of these guys. Like, it says that I'm ranked with Loki, but I'm rank 1 because I just hate playing as Loki, and I hate playing against Lokis. I think every person can relate to that. If I main anybody, I'm maining Serket, and I'm kind of working on her as well. But every assassin is so vastly different from one another, it's impossible to go ahead and give a broad spectrum for them, because like Serket, I focus a lot on the poison damage she deals. So I go with critical strike and attack speed, because when I use my ultimate ability, my poison's going to do the rest of the damage for me. I just need to go ahead and get that initial burst out, and then she does everything else just deals with itself. But my buddy Corey plays a Wheelix, and he's got a build that spits out, like, what was it? I want to say he said 1,000 points of damage per hit. It's brutal. He hits slower than I do, but his hits are far harder. Not that we both can't get the job done in our own respects, but yeah. Oh, I backed right out again. So as a hunter, you're going to be playing very similarly to the mage. You're just physical as opposed to magical. You want to keep everybody at a distance. You want to spread love. What's one of our favorite items? Do I have a build for him? I don't think I have a build for him. I don't. So we're going to go here. And we're going to look at my favorite. Yeah, I'm just going to go to Atlanta's bow and peer over to it, because Odysseus's bow, I cannot recommend this enough to any hunter, to anybody that does physical. For attack speed, this is wonderful. The fact that every 4th basic attack chains lightning is just icing on the cake. The 40% attack speed it's a staple. If you don't do anything else for attack speed, take Odysseus's bow. I love it. And you will too. It's great for minion control. It's great for just kind of getting a little bit ahead early in the game. You don't necessarily need to keep it in your build. Maybe it's not for you, but it is definitely for me. I cannot recommend it enough. And every hunter I play plays Odysseus's bow. So we get to mages. Now you're going to find 2 different types of mages here. Let's find... Who's a good example? Okay, let's start with the starter. Everybody starts with Kukulkan, which is, as you can tell, my actual original character in this. I played him back when he was still the wet noodle, Ao Kuang, before they turned him into the magical assassin, but, you know. So, as a mage, your job, as a mage like Kukulkan, your job is going to be to absolutely spit damage. So you look at my stats here off to the side, I have 723 magical power and virtually nothing else. Because my basic attacks don't do much, but when I hit you with any of my abilities, you're gonna know. God forbid I hit you with my ultimate. I've actually knocked a Cerberus completely out with the ultimate ones. It's absolutely insane the amount of damage this thing can put out. And I would recommend focusing on magical power for any of the mages if you're not going to go ahead and play someone like Aphrodite or Baron Samedi, or who's another healer I play? Hell. Hell is another healer that I play. She's a very good one. If you're not sure if you want to try being a healer or not, try out Hell. She starts the game with her ultimate, which basically means she swaps stances. She can go in her nice sweet and whatever form, her healer form, into her damage form. The damage form obviously shifts all of the abilities. They're on their own separate cooldown from the healer form, and it's just wonderful. If you find that you can't fill one role particularly well, or maybe if the team needs another role, you can just swap to it on a dime, and it's great. The catch is her passive, I believe, is, yeah, the stance attunement. She takes like 5 seconds to go ahead and get her 20% damage buff or healing buff. Not long, not a terrible payoff, but if you're in a pinch, that 20% can make all the difference. So just keep that in mind, but cannot recommend this to someone who wants to try healer enough. If you are a hardcore healer, I would recommend trying out Aphrodite or Baron Samedi. I'm no good with Aphrodite. My sister-in-law is. I love it when she plays Aphrodite because she kisses everybody and I get all the jealousy buff, and I, even as a tank, I can bowl through everybody. Remember, if you're playing Aphrodite, don't just kiss your friends, kiss your enemies. Baron Samedi I like because of one of his abilities here, the Consigned Spirits. I can slap an enemy god and all of my nearby gods gain HP, and it's just fun. This god deals a whole lot of damage. He does a lot of healing if he's built right. I think I have a little bit of lifesteal on him. Yeah, I've got this little guy down here. Has a little bit of lifesteal, another main focus on power, just because that's kind of what I do with mages is power. But the stronger you are, the stronger you are with, like, say, Anubis, the more life you're stealing. So, stuff to keep in mind. Warriors, your close range, your physical, typically. I don't know if there's a magical warrior. There's probably not. I'm probably going to look like an idiot to everybody. But the best thing you can do is take time to learn your warrior and do not get particularly attached to any build. I'll show you what my items look like right now because I don't really organize anything in a particular way. I have my 3 items that I go into every single game with that boosts, from the bottom left in order, boosts HP and protections, both physical and magical. My 40% damage, my lightning strike, because cannot do without it, and my boots to increase my movement speed with a little bit of raw physical power on them. And then I have 4 suits armor. I got 1 physical, physical and magical, and then this one's physical but has the added bonus of towers attack 33% less. I've got damage, lifesteal, crit chance, lifesteal, and blood shield. So I'm built to go ahead and counter damage, to counter as much as I possibly can here. I've also got this doodad here because, you know, team player, and then a little skull here is a nice widespread damage debuff for the enemies. So if I'm playing tier, I'm typically playing interference. And I mean, that's going to be your job as the warrior, is to run interference against everything. If you see the enemy team has a Baron Samedi that's giving you a lot of trouble, your job is to bully that Baron Samedi. And I know that sounds terrible. I'm not encouraging bullying in any way. Literally. I am encouraging you to be a team player and be ready to take those hits to get that guy off their backs. You know, if you see a problem on the battlefield, that becomes your priority, is to deal with that one player that's either a little bit fed, or maybe they're just really good with their god. Maybe you come across that, like, Diamond Loki with 1,000,000 kills in the load screen. And, you know, in the back of your head, you're like, I don't want to take on a Diamond Loki with 1,000,000 kills. But if you don't, he's going to be wiping your team constantly. So, yeah, that's basically it for the gods. To sum it up, we've got assassins. Make sure you know the ins and outs of all of them. Because your for every god, make sure you know your passives and make sure you understand your abilities. That goes doubly true for assassins because they're all so vastly different from one another. You never know what you're going to get into. I know a guy that picked up Daji just because she's the nine-tailed fox, and he's a big Naruto anime dork. So he picked her up, had no idea what he was getting into. Can't play. He got it for, where is it? Where's the stupid? He got it for this. The stupid Senpai skin, which I think the cell shading's awesome. The skins are beautiful. I love them. I even like the Loki one with the Sailor Moon reference. But he picked it up for the whole weeboo thing, and he does not know how to play Daji. He's struggling. Know your assassins inside and out. I cannot stress that enough. If you find the one that clicks with you, wonderful. If you find that one right off the bat, even better. If not, don't be discouraged. Try them all out. See what fits. Guardians, your job is to... You're a tank. Your job is to soak up damage and maybe not spit it back out. I tell everybody that's playing a Guardian to look at your assists more than your kills. I main Fafnir as my Guardian. I mean Fafnir, and I'm offing Bacchus because I'm not allowed to play Bacchus in mixed company. I just have far too much fun. But with Fafnir, I play basically a support character. You're going to be playing a lot of support as a Guardian. So don't look at the kills, look at the assists, and pay very close attention to post-game what your damage mitigation was. Make sure it is astronomical, because that's going to be when you've truly gotten good at tanking. Hunters, play keep away. Shoot at them from afar. Again, learn your abilities, because some of them, like Cupid, I think does a little bit of healing, which is kind of weird for hunters. Not many of them do that. And then you've got people like Neath that every time a god dies, you get a little knot, a little, what is it, a weave that you put into the ground. And when you trigger one of your abilities on it, it roots people there, which makes them very easy targets for you to pick off. So stuff like that, keep in mind. Mages, make sure you're careful with who you're picking. You might look like you're a huge damage dealer, and turns out the character is actually a healer. So make sure you try before you buy, but always recommending them. Warriors, counter. I already did this one, so I'm not going to go through it again. Well, everybody, I hope this was helpful. Give me a shout out in the comments if you want to go ahead and try anything out. If you play on the PS4, shoot me a private message or a friend request or something. I'll even dive into a private match and give you some pointers if you want. I might learn from you. Who knows? We're all always growing in this, right? All right, everybody. It was great to see everyone again, and I hope to talk to y'all soon. Bye.